Hey everyone, this is Prince from Desi Programmer. Welcome back to another exciting video in this React.js series. And in this video, we are going to create this simple project where we're going to understand state a little bit. So we'll have this simple image here, and when you click on this change image button, it will change the image's source, basically rendering a new image as you can see. So click on change image and it will grab a new image and it will render here. I know it's very simple, but with this project you will get a basic understanding of state and images and buttons. So let's get started. Well, as you can see, this is something that we have created since last video, right? So I'll go back to my code and I'm going to remove all these things from here actually right now. I don't want to create another project for this simple thing, so I'll just remove everything. And now here we need to add an image. So let's see how we can add an image. The process is still simple. We simply use an img tag. It will be self-closing. And this has couple of props. So okay, let me tell you one thing again. So basically when we're talking about HTML, this is a simple HTML tag, right? But when we are talking about the thing in JavaScript, whether it's an HTML tag or a JSX component, doesn't matter. We call all these properties as props. So image has a property which is a prop, which is basically src, source. So we know we have to just give an image source. It could be local or remote, and our image will be displayed. So I am just going to grab this particular image. It looks pretty weird to me, so I'll just copy the image address and I will put it here. Okay, let's save this. Let's go back, let's refresh this, and we should see this image. Okay, yeah, it looks good, decent. And also as you can see, it says that an alt, which is an alternate text prop is mandatory here. I'll simply say my cover. Now I know that we haven't talked about styling yet, but I'm going to give this image some styling because I want things to look beautiful. I mean, if not beautiful, then at least better. So I'm just going to add this code, and if you don't understand it, that's completely fine. We are going to talk about it in detail when we talk about styling React.js. And now this image looks like this. Pretty decent, right? So what I want to do here is that I just want to grab a source, okay, and I want to update it when somebody clicks on this change button. So for that, first we need a change button. I'll go to button, okay, and we have, it'll say change image. We'll save this. Now we have a change image button right here. When I click on this, I want to update the image source. So what can we do for that? First of all, we are going to use state. Okay, we are going to store a variable in our state, and when somebody clicks on this button, we are going to update that particular variable. So I have an array of images that I already grabbed from pixels.com. so this is my array of image. Okay, whenever somebody clicks on this particular change image icon, I'm going to generate a random number in this range and I'm going to assign that particular image. But to do that, first of all, we need state. So I'm going to use state. Okay, and if I hit enter here, I think it should, okay, it doesn't import, so I have to import state, use state. So we have imported use state from React, and then we have this. Okay, remember what I told earlier, we have to make sure that our variable names are meaningful. So instead of state, I will say this is my image URL, and instead of set state, I will say set image URL. Now what do we need here is an initial value, and obviously since we are going to launch this image for the first time, I want to show one particular image even before the user has clicked on the change button. So I'm going to grab this particular image from here. Okay, I will cut it and I'll paste this value right here. Okay, we'll save this. So this is our initial value, and when the user clicks on this change button, we are going to change that value. Next thing I have to do is to grab this particular variable, and now my source is going to be a JavaScript value, which is image URL. The value will be substituted here eventually. If I save this, if we go back, now we have this. Okay, no change obviously because everything is pretty same. Okay, when this component is rendered, we have this particular image URL variable, which is a state. It has this particular initial value. So when we go here in image, we grab this particular initial value and we display an image. Now comes to our change image button. So for that, what we need to do is we need a function. So let's say I have a function. We will name this as change image source, right? What this function does is that it will assign a new source to this particular image URL so that it will be automatically re-rendered and we will see a new image here. For that, we already have a couple of images, right? All that we need to do is to make sure that we have a function that can generate a random number. So instead of taking too much time, I just went to Stack Overflow and I copied this particular function. All this does is that it takes a minimum and a maximum and it provides a random number in that range. So if we take a look at this array, we have 5 elements, right? Which means our minimum could be 0 and our maximum will be 4. So we are going to get a random number here. So let's select random is equal to get random. Our minimum will be 0, maximum will be 4. And this is why I asked you to be familiar with basics JavaScript concept, right? Because I'm not going to tell you why I'm passing 0 and 4, although this has 5 elements. You should know about array, how indexing works in array. Anyway, with that being said, we move forward. We get a random number now. Okay, so this is my array and we have a random number which is in the index of this particular array. All that I have to do is to call set image URL. I have to call this array. I mean, basically I have to reference this array which is images, and from this particular array I'm going to grab an index, and this index is going to be random every time. And for my button, I have to simply say on click, I have to call a JavaScript function which is going to be change image source. We'll save this, we'll go back. So we refresh this, and now if I click on change image, it's going to change this particular image. Okay, let's click. Let's wait for it to update. Okay, let's click again and it will grab a new image. It's kind of slow because of my internet speed basically right now, and also because we are grabbing this high quality images. But you see, we click on this M button and it changes the image. So this is the basic concept where, I mean, you can see how easy it is with React.js. We can simply click on a button, update an image source. I'm not saying that it will be hard if you're using Vanilla.js, but if you're using Vanilla.js, it could be a bit tricky. Also, I explained you how to work with the states. Like, again, it was a very basic example, but it's more than enough for you right now to understand like how we can use this particular variable and assign a new value using this set image URL, and then how this is rendered. Okay, initially people are a lot more confused because I'm using this value everywhere, but to change this particular value I have to call this function. Well, anyway, that's pretty much it from my side in this video. If you want to do something to make sure that you have a better understanding, there is one simple application that's pretty famous, which is a counter app. So you have to make sure that you have one button which says increase. You need to have a value, and when you click on this increase button, the value must increase by 1. I know it sounds very simple if you are already familiar with any other reactive framework, but if you want, you can give it a try. If you want to do something more better than that, then you can give this entire body a background image. Okay, but the background image's color should be controlled via state. So when you click on change color, it should randomly generate a color, or maybe you can have a list of colors and it should randomly add a color to your particular body. So I'll catch you up soon in the next video. Till then, keep coding, keep loving, keep shading, and peace.